r/AskReddit by Reddit and chill. What's an instant clothing turn off for you when looking at the opposite sex? Men. Ill-fitting clothing. Especially suits and Guy Fieri sunglasses. Fine on Guy. Obviously. Honestly, Guy Fieri is the only man who can pull off his look. Skin-colored leggings. The ones that make you do a double take because you think for a second they're naked from the waist down. I tried on light pink skinny jeans in a store last weekend. The saleswoman tried to convince me I wouldn't look like I'm not wearing pants if I wore a belt with them. Beach. I'm super pale pink skinned. A belt would not stop people having to do the double take. I went with the dark grey. Edie Hardy and basically anything bedazzled. I think it's bedazzled. But I like your word better. Those badass shirts. Like the ones you find on r/IamForRibitus. The oddly specific I was born during a tornado in July of 1977 while Lynyrd Skynyrd screeched in the background. Do not duck with ME. Caps with the circumference set too small. So it just sits on top of the wearer's head. I don't understand how this is a thing. But it is. Edit. Since people seem to confuse this description with a yarmulke, click here to see what I mean. If you know a better way to describe it, go nuts. A taller head is used to ward off predators. I live in FL so anything salt life. Edit. For those that don't know, it's a clothing brand that is a part of the Trailer Park Trash Starter Pack. You see the logo on ducking everything they can fit a ducking thing on. Also, holy duck, it's speeding. Every time I see that decal on the back of a car, it always looks like it says slap life at first glance. Edit. Oh Christ. My inbox. I guess it's not just me. Live in the UK. Those pants that have juicy written on the bum. What? Are the early 2000s just hitting the UK or something? I thought those were long gone. Belly hanging out from the bottom of the shirt that isn't long enough. Mostly has to do with fat people like me. I hate this so much. If I find a shirt that fits properly, it's a ducking crop top on me. If I find a shirt long enough, it's way too big around. It's like they expect fat people to be Danny DeVito sized. Shirts that are too tight. So tight that the buttons near the tummy may pop out. Tank tops screaming. Lotto. I don't fit you. Does heavy ass cologne count as clothing? They basically put it on like a wetsuit layer. I hate all ass colognes. Anything other than chainmail. Jeans that drag on the ground. The kind that have seen such tragedy that they have holes worn through from constantly being stepped on and dragged across the rough ground. Used to be a style that will come back eventually. Jeans that don't fit a man's ass, that is. When they're slip sliding down to their knees. No thank you. Joke's on you, I don't have an ass. Little known fact. If you wear any pants with words on the ass, you gain 350 pounds instantly. Sitting in an airport with a coworker. Woman walks by in a pair of Victoria's Secret sweatpants. Coworker turns to me. Total deadpan stare. And says, what's PNK? Her ass had entirely eaten the eye. Can't speak for turn-offs. But if you ain't wearing socks and Crocs, then we ain't ducking. You mean my big rubber Mr. shoes? Anything with a pot leaf on it. Sagging pants. You look like a toddler with a full diaper. The one that gets me is the sagging skinny jeans. It seems like an oxymoron. Wife beaters. Very hard to pull off. Crocs. Just can't. Way too baggy trousers. I don't want to see 3 inches of your boxers in public. Edit. I responded to some, but just for the record, I'm not denying Crocs serve a practical purpose. They are just very aesthetically unappealing to me. And also, don't forget, no one else's opinion but your own really matters. Wife beaters are only good for gym and undershirt. And beating your wife, of course. Dudes wearing pants below their butt so their underwear is showing. Sleeveless hoodies. My ex had one. He also had extremely hairy armpits. Don't know why he wouldn't just get rid of it. Edit. Get rid of the hoodie. Not the armpits. It was a hideous shade of brownish grayish. Is your ex Bill Belichick? Teacher print stuff. Makes me think of 50-year-old trailer park women. The first time I came home with leopard print lingerie, my husband kindly told me that everyone he knew that wore animal print stuff was batshit crazy and it was a complete turn off for him. Edit. Great. My most popular post is about leopard print lingerie. To the people asking about the second time. There wasn't one. I literally had never owned any animal print items before and was looking to get something different for my husband. Then he told me never again, haha. Those claw-like fake fingernails. Wait, that's not clothing. Carry on. It counts, Imo. Feather boas. Hulk Hogan pulled off a feather boa way better than any woman ever will, and honestly, you're just shooting yourself in the foot by inviting the comparison. I've never seen a woman wearing a feather boa in the wild. That thing is exclusive for Halloween stuff or 20s costumes. Huge plastic nails. No kidding. You should always stick with galvanized steel nails. Too much of jewelry. What do you consider to be too much? For me, as a guy, I'd feel like I was wearing too much jewelry if I had more than 3 items on. Those weird sharp-edged eyebrows that women wear these days. I'm just confused by this trend. Call me old-fashioned, but I like my eyebrows made of hair. Those dresses that don't taper at all, so it kind of looks like a big windsock. You mean t-shirt dresses? Edit. For the record, I really like how t-shirt dresses look on women. I was just trying to help OP find their words. I've noticed this a lot recently, a poorly fitted suit on a man. Particularly if the jacket is ill-fitting in the shoulders or waist. Or if the pants are too short. Not saying every guy needs to drop thousands on a custom tailored suit. But at least find one that fits well. Or take it to a tailor for small cheap alterations. Edit. Here's a decent illustrated guide. Particularly with pants. I think the half break is optimal on 99% of men. And a second one. I like to call that look I got a court date so I went to Goodwill. I shouldn't have read this thread. Now I feel ugly with my loose clothing. It's comfortable. My friend was recently saying the same, but then I reminded him he's married and thus has pretty much reached the fashion endgame. All he has to do is have one kid and suddenly he's dadcore. Those tanks with the massive armholes. Ick. In England, tanks have a kettle so the crew can make tea without getting out. Not so much clothes, but an orange looking fake tan. I've seen so many women walking around like they are hot shit looking like an Oompa Loompa. I once was about to tell a woman that she was overdoing her full pancake makeup. Then I noticed she was actually hiding a large facial port wine birthmark. I learned not to comment on things like that from that incident. Fedora. If you also have a leather jacket, satchel, and bullwhip, I'll give you a pass on the hat. Those ducking toe shoes. My god, they are the ugliest shoes in the world. My dumb self was sitting here trying to think of why you run into so many ballerinas. Shirts, jackets, hats, or anything printed with an anime girl with gigantic boobs hanging out. Or has an ahegao face. Even when worn ironically. And I say this as someone who actually likes anime. The only thing that turns on in me is searing, unadulterated rage. When girls wear those jeans that are torn and ripped. But it's clear that the pants don't fit. So their thighs go through the holes and look like really bad hot cross buns. Anything in leopard print. OFFS. As if being a leopard wasn't tough enough. A hairy man in a mesh tank top. You should stop hanging out in gay bars then. If he's not in thigh highs, he's not worth it. Clothes that fit him properly. My BF always wears clothes that are too big and it drives me crazy. Also men in bedazzled jeans or tops. I feel if I get smaller clothes then they won't be long enough. So I end up with baggy stuff. Ed Hardy or tap out shirts. Bedazzled clothing of any kind. Ill-fitting suits. Sandals with socks. Shirts with stupid sayings or the ones that have a list of doing whatever macho thing on the back. Fedoras. Clothing that is torn and stained because you're lazy and can't be bothered to buy new stuff. Edit. When I say clothing that is stained or torn, I don't mean just chilling around the house. I don't give a duck what a person wears in their own home. I mean when actually going out with friends or on a date. And for everyone saying clothes are expensive. Yes, I agree. Brand new, high-end clothing is expensive. I personally buy all my clothes and my kids' clothes at consignment shops, Goodwill, or yard sales Facebook Marketplace. I'm able to find really nice, sometimes name brand clothes with the tags still on, for pennies on the dollar. Where do you guys see these people in tap-out shirts? I genuinely don't recall ever seeing one in real life, and I only found out they were hated because of Reddit. Edit. I live in Minnesota. A scarf longer than both our heights combined. Edit. Okay. I get it. Scarves are awesome. But I live in a tropical country. Just the thought of people wearing scarves makes me sweat. The fourth doctor wants to know your location. Ear gauges plugs. I'm sorry. I know they're a personal aesthetic choice, and I would never tell anyone not to get them. But I just can't get over how they look. Ducking like and subscribe.